Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Thank you so much for this reception, ladies and gentlemen. I have to thank Professor Nadeem Rezavi and his colleagues for organizing this reception. We have worked together for so many years, and I see in the first row some people with whom I worked but are now in Delhi. So it's very kind that they are present here. I think we are all agreed that when historians work, they should, as far as possible, keep their prejudices at some length. Of course, it's very difficult to identify one's prejudice. One supposes that what one holds is the correct opinion. But I think for historians, this self-examination is always very important. Because if needless prejudice enters your narrative, then that narrative loses its authenticity. And as in all subjects of science, so also in history, it is very important to put one's own prejudices on one side. And this is a very important but also difficult process. How do you identify a particular idea of yours as a prejudice? In other words, a historian's work is probably doubly arduous than that of a scientist, because a scientist deals with phenomena outside his own person. A historian deals not only with phenomena outside but also with his own prejudices and ideas and perceptions. So clearly, the historian's task is a difficult one from that of a physical scientist and so on. Today in India, this is becoming, as you know, further complicated, because unlike previous regimes, the present regime has a jaundiced view of India's past, where Muslims tend to be excluded. I remember the BA syllabus that the government of India last year promulgated. The caste system is not discussed in ancient India. It is discussed in medieval India as if it was created in response to Muslim aggression. A theory of caste which no scholar worth the name has yet propounded. But this is now the standard in the standard syllabus for the whole of India. Similarly, Akbar is out of the syllabus. Akbar is not mentioned. Aurangzeb, of course, is, and Shivaji, Aurangzeb. And an institution like Hindu Padbashahi, which the Marathas themselves never took seriously, is a very important part of the Hindu Padshaahi, as it is called, is an important part of that syllabus. So, of course, most professional historians, academic historians, the History Congress criticized this syllabus, but it is still the regulating syllabus for all BA classes in the country, funded by the government. I don't know about our own university, what they have done about it, or whether they have just simply accepted it and told nobody about it. I don't know. But it is, I think, important, therefore, that we should protect history, its principles, its methods, and so on. Well,
That's better. So audible, sir.
I was just mentioning that the present syllabus that the government of India have prescribed is for professional historians quite unacceptable. It has curious assumptions built into it. For instance, as I just said, that caste system is, according to this syllabus, created in response to Muslim aggression, not created in ancient India, which no historian of ancient India worth the name would accept, because it's there in the Manu Smriti, it's there in Sanskrit literature. But to say that the caste system was created as a defense mechanism by Hindus against Muslims is height of absurdity. And so on. Sometimes ignorance sometimes saves us. For instance, my late friend Bipin Chandra's books, he was a Marxist, he was a leftist, but his books are prescribed through a misunderstanding that he is a nationalist leader, Bipin Chandra Pal, after whom he was named. So far as our opponents are ignorant, we might still gain. Therefore I, for instance, have never pointed out that the book of Bipin Chandra Pal that have been prescribed as really by Bipin Chandra, a Marxist historian of confessed association. So ignorance sometimes also is bliss. But clearly history is one subject which is under attack, and I must say that Indian historians have, as far as possible, reacted very strongly against it. Indian History Congress has continuously passed resolutions against the syllabi. They have called upon state governments not to accept the central syllabus, and I am very happy to say that several governments, state governments, particularly from the south, have refused to accept the central syllabus for schools. So this is particularly as far as history is concerned. So the struggle for a proper reconstruction of history, a proper representation of it in our school and university textbooks is still on. We are defending old textbooks into all our historians' organizations, and many state governments, to their honor, have refused to accept the RSS type of textbooks that the central government has recommended. So I think then when we are discussing matters of history, we should also remember that history is something we have to defend. We can't defend false perceptions, but we can certainly defend the genuine facts of history as have been worked out by generations of professional historians. And I'm glad to say that so far Indian History Congress, the major organization of professional historians, has stood up against the ruling regime's design to change the entire history syllabus of India. They have not yet succeeded because of the opposition of so many state governments and the historians associations, not only at all India level but also as provincial levels. Well, thank you very much again for your kind sentiments expressed here. I am very grateful for this reception. Thank you.